Hey everyone, it's Drayton from Scale Trains, and I'm here to talk to you about the new Fox Valley Models HO scale N&W Class J 484 locomotive. We're really excited to share our first steam locomotive with you. In this video, we're going to be going over the lighting, the sound, and smoke functions, give you a better idea of what all this locomotive is equipped with, and we're really excited to share it with you. So stay tuned. When the first N&W J-Class steam locomotive rolled out of Roanoke's East End shops in 1941, it instantly became an icon of the city of Roanoke, which is exactly why in 2015, the VMT Museum and Fire Up 611 added Spirit of Roanoke under the cab window of 611. 611 is the sole survivor from a class of 14 locomotives that were designed to pull Norfolk and Western's most famous passenger trains, the Pocahontas, the Cavalier, and the Powhatan Arrow. Today we're going to be talking about the entire train set, which we're offering here in HO scale. The Fox Valley line is kind of going to be the home of the MTH, the former MTH tooling that we acquired in 2020. And so, what more iconic locomotive to offer than the J-Class and the matching passenger cars to go with it? So let's get into the details. First things first, the thing that really separates our locomotives from other locomotives on the market today is the fact that we are adding two speakers, one in the boiler and one in the tender, so you're going to get that high fidelity sound with authentic sound. And that's really important because, who wants to operate a steam locomotive that sounds like sandpaper? It's just awful. No one wants to do that. That's not how the prototypes sound. So we partnered with ESU Loc Sound, and they actually went to record the sound of 611 not once, but twice. They wanted to make sure that the audio was absolutely perfect, and I must say they really did an incredible job. We're going to demonstrate some of the sound features for you here in just a minute. But when it comes to the J-Class, you've also got to have the lighting effects. And when Norfolk Southern was formed, they really needed a steam locomotive that could do it all. And that the J-Class was the perfect solution. It was the most powerful 484 ever designed, and they had Southern 4501, 630, 722. They leased for a brief time a Canadian Pacific Royal Hudson with a bulleted nose, but that locomotive, while it was beautiful and while it performed well at high speeds, had a tough time pulling anything more than about 16 coaches. And at that time they were running trains up to 20 cars long with double-headed steam, and it just wasn't working out. So when the N&W and Southern merged in 1982, 611 was the perfect locomotive to step right in and handle those excursions all over the United States. One of the improvements that Norfolk Southern had done there in Birmingham, Alabama at Irondale was they added a twin beam headlight. So that way, if a bulb burned out, they'd still have an extra headlight, but the twin beam allowed them to see better at night and around tight curves, which was a big improvement. But other than that, 611's appearance generally stayed the same throughout the 80s and 90s. But in 2015, like we mentioned earlier, Spirit of Roanoke was added under the cab, and the locomotive, it just sounds incredible. The bell was recorded directly from the real 611, as well as the whistle. And some of you have asked about the whistles. The whistle on this model is the one from 2015 that currently is on the engine. We might be able to offer the 80s whistle in the future. We're working on some options for that, but right now it's the 2015 whistle and beyond. It's hard to get authentic steam whistle recordings because you really need a steam locomotive that has enough PSI to actually give you that authentic whistle sound. So we probably will offer that at some point in the future with our friends from ESU. So when it comes to lighting, you want that bright LED lighting. On our model, on the modern excursion version of 611, you've got that twin beam headlight. But on the late as-built version, you've got just a single light in the nose of the locomotive, which is pretty cool. In addition to 611, we're offering several other road numbers, including the 600. The earlier J's, which we'll show you some photos of, actually have spoked pilot wheels. Eventually, as the 50s came around, most of the locomotives, if not all, had the spoked pilot wheels replaced. Of course, the J's were built with roller bearings, which you can see on our model. The roller bearings are really what set the locomotives apart. They essentially allowed them to run further without as much friction, without as much greasing, and really just enhance the overall performance of the locomotive. And I think our factory did an awesome job of replicating those bearings on the locomotive. Of course, you've got a die-cast boiler and die-cast tender. The die-cast really does help with the sound quality, because you're not going to have any rattling speakers inside. They are solid, and as you'll hear on the model, they just sound incredible. Also, we have a synchronized puffing smoke unit. I just want to let everyone know that this is the pre-production sample. We're working on the smoke unit as we speak. The smoke will be much improved on the production samples, and it'll be about 6 to 8 months before we get the production samples in-house for us to review, and we're really excited to see what the factory can do. One thing I forgot to mention is there is a backup tender light, a cab light, so that you can see the end of the boiler and all of the instrumentation inside the cab. And then we also have marker lights, which you can cycle through white, green, and off. So you can, make sure that everyone at the stations that you pass by can know which section of the train you're operating. So with that being said, let's take a look at some of the features and show some run-by footage so you can see what this amazing model is all about. So as you can see, the sound and the lighting functions on this locomotive are incredible, definitely superior to what was available before. We're so happy to be able to offer this model. It's one of the most highly requested steam locomotives, and a lot of folks have been patiently waiting for it since 2020, and we're glad that it's finally here. But what is a steam locomotive without its passenger train? And that's why we're offering the Powhatan Aero cars. Available separately, our selling price on those is $89.99, and as you can see, it's a five-piece set, so you can collect them all. We're also offering several different road numbers for coaches, so that if you want to swap out the road numbers, you can definitely do so. At the end of the train is a observation car with a lit train sign on the back of it. It's pretty cool. The lighting is a lot brighter than what it was before. Of course, it's got marker lights. That's really important too. It's kind of cool because you can see the marker lights on the tail end and the class lights on the steam locomotive. Lit interiors. The observation cars are kind of a diner lounge. You'll see if you look in the windows, you can actually see tables in there and a little concession stand, which is pretty cool. Unfortunately, there were two Powhatan Aero sets, and unfortunately, both of the observation cars were purchased by a railroad in Saudi Arabia in 1961 when the train was downgraded, and Unfortunately, those cars were scrapped sometime a few decades later. So there are no N&W observation cars in existence today, but you can replicate them in your model railroad. We also have a dining car, which is essential on any long distance trains. Running between Norfolk, Virginia and Cincinnati, Ohio, your passengers are guaranteed to get hungry. There are 6 stops between the origin point and the destination. So you're going to have passengers getting on and off 676 miles one way. And so definitely dining car is important to have in a train. Of course, you've got the compartment coach and the crew coach. Those are important too. And like I said, we're offering several different road numbers for the coaches, because if you wanted to add an extra coach for a higher capacity train, you can do so. There's multiple road numbers available. And as with the observation car, all of the coaches are lit. And let me tell you something, these cars roll. It might be the most powerful 484 ever built, but these cars have to be pretty light. They are weighted to NMRA standards, but the nice thing is like, us modern Norfolk Southern modelers, these are great stand-in cars for the OCS train. They look pretty similar. So you could essentially use this as your Norfolk Southern business train. And that train, as well as some of the modern 21st century excursions, were really long, up to 20 cars. So the lightweight, free-rolling cars are really important. And you can build a long train without overworking your locomotive on steep grades. So very important to have. These cars are finely detailed, showing you the underframe. They have full decorated underframes, really adds the overall prototype fidelity on these models, and just really cool to see the whole set here on the layout. And it'll look great on your home layout, the Class J and the cars to go with it. So make sure you pre-order now. Pre-orders are due on May 8th. And interestingly enough, I didn't know this until we made the announcement. Someone pointed out that the last steam trip on the N&W was on May 8th. I don't remember the year. I think it was 1959. So there you have it. On the anniversary of the last steam train on the N&W, pre-orders are due May 8th. So you can pre-order through us at scaletrains.com, or find a select retailer on our website. You might have one in your area that you can pre-order through. The steam locomotives, our selling price is $524.99, and the individual passenger cars, $89.99. So look for delivery of these models mid-December of this year. We're really excited. They're finally going to be here. I'm ordering a set myself, the Spirit of Roanoke version, because with a prototype that sounds so good and is so powerful, I want to replicate that on my model railroad as well. So make sure you click the links in the video description to place your pre-order now. As always, thanks for tuning in to the Scale Trains YouTube channel. If you haven't done it yet, make sure you're subscribed and ring the bell to get notifications every time we upload a new video. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, I'm Drayton Blackgrove.